I tend to work more with women. I don't specifically target women necessarily, but it's the voice that I write to. I have worked with men. The men that I have worked with are really into taking better care of themselves, emotionally, intellectually, physically. The women that I work with are very driven. And the commonality amongst everybody is I like to say they've woken up and they realize they're not where they thought they would be.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Okay, welcome to the Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today we are on the 4th episode, and I have a very special guest with me, who is an executive coach. She is Corinne Wyard. She has done a lot of work in the marketing space, and then switched over to becoming career executive coach. And also kind of helps with their careers as well. Corinne, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to become an executive coach, and what inspired you to start your own executive coaching business.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. I actually, as you mentioned, started my career in marketing. I was a marketing executive for over 30 years, and I worked in all different industries: high tech, publishing, financial services, commercial construction, in companies as small as 13 people and as large as 36,000. I did domestic marketing as well as international marketing. And I came to coaching as a result of two things. One, I moved from one state to another, and I was looking for a marketing position that would allow me to move between the two states, or work remotely. And then secondly, as I was in that search, the pandemic hit. And it gave me an opportunity to do a little bit of an audit. And then I did a larger audit because I was realizing I wasn't enjoying marketing. As I looked back at my last couple of positions, I didn't have the same jazz in my heart, the same fire in my belly for what I was doing as I did a year, 2 years, 3 years prior to that. And with the pandemic happening, being in a new state, my networking opportunities dried up, and it gave me that opportunity to take another step back and do a bigger audit. And I realized what I enjoyed about marketing was it's a fabulous tool when used appropriately to help companies or divisions grow and thrive. And that's what I loved. I loved using it as a tool to help organizations grow and thrive and exceed their objectives. And I realized as I did that audit, a common thread was I mentored a lot of people. I coached a lot of people, whether they were my peers, my direct reports, dotted line reports, or even senior executives. And the thematic thread amongst all of that was I was actually helping those people to grow and thrive. So as part of that reflection, I connected with some of those folks and asked some very direct questions and was told I was good at what I do or did. And so I decided, let's take a leap of faith, let's get certified, and let's start being a coach. Little did I know, a lot of other people were doing the same thing around the time of the pandemic. But I love what I do. I love watching people evolve, watching people transform, watching them grow, and watching them hit their ability to thrive at a higher level than they had in the past.
Thanks for sharing that. So it does seem like it is a very natural shift from your career to become an executive coach. Is there a reason you particularly chose executive coaching over, let's say, career coaching, or either leadership coaching, or you kind of feel like executive coaching includes those in it?
That's a great question. I actually am certified as an executive coach, a career coach, and a spiritual coach. I happen to be a Reiki master, and I'm certified in other energy modalities. I don't use those in my practice. I have focused on executive coaching because, yes, career coaching is typically a part of that. And life coaching enters into all of the other components of coaching. We don't really have a life and then have a career. They all mesh, they all intertwined in so many different ways that if we're not 100% okay at home, we're not going to be 100% okay at work, no matter how big of a mask we wear. At some point, there's going to be cracks in that mask, and there's going to be cracks in our performance. If we're not 100% happy at work, it doesn't matter how big of a mask we wear, how thick of a mask we wear, how tight of a mask we wear at home, that is going to come home with us. And so I always want to find out what's going on in my client's personal life, what's going on in their business life. Is this the career they wanted? And what are the goals that they have? And oftentimes the goals they think they came to me with, or objectives, really aren't the ones that we end up focusing on.
Interesting. So, and I've seen that also from other coaches that I've interviewed, that um, you have to take a holistic approach when it comes to either career coaching or executive coaching. And just like you said, if not everything is going well in life, um, there's no way that that's not going to affect your career or your kind of like either your executive position or your leadership uh, position at that point. And it could also be a reason why you might not be doing well, or you might be doing very well at certain stages of your career. Is there a specific group of people that you work with? So basically, who do you work with, and what kind of transformation do you help them achieve?
Sure. I tend to work more with women. I don't specifically target women necessarily, but it's the voice that I write to. I have worked with men. The men that I have worked with are really into taking better care of themselves, emotionally, intellectually, physically. The women that I work with are very driven. And the commonality amongst everybody is I like to say they've woken up and they realize they're not where they thought they would be. Or they are where they thought they would be, but it's not bringing them the happiness, the joy, the satisfaction they expected it to. And from there, we then work on what's missing. How did they get to where they are? What's the delta between where they are and where they thought they would be or thought they would be feeling? And oftentimes what we do, and I'm probably jumping ahead a question or two, so my apologies, but often what has happened is they've either become disconnected from their values, or in some cases, they actually never even knew what their values were. So that disconnect began way back at the beginning of their career. And that gap only continued to expand until the time that it really took over their career. And once we get folks back into the connection, into their authentic self, then things seem to align better and faster and more to a long-term benefit once they are in alignment with their values. So the transformation is basically being back in love with what you're doing, getting the joy out of what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it.
That's very interesting, especially the part about aligning the values, and I really find that to be the case with the other coaches that I've interviewed. There's a lot of similarities when it comes to executive coaching and career coaching as well. Where do you find your target audience? Where do you find your clients? Is there what is the main so kind of shifting right now to marketing a little bit? What is the main marketing channel that you're utilizing to find clients?
So the best channel is referrals, as everybody knows. But it's hard when you're first starting out, you don't have the referrals yet, right? So I love LinkedIn. If you're targeting professionals, LinkedIn is absolutely the place to go to. If you're targeting very specific professionals, so let's say, for example, a lot of wealth managers target like a CFO, someone may target a CEO, someone may target new into the sales roles. If you're going to be that specific who your target audience is, I would start joining associations for CFOs, CEOs, new salespeople, etc. Otherwise, I think LinkedIn is great. And of course, as you know, you can be really specific within LinkedIn. And then I would back it up probably with, depending on who your target audience is, Instagram. Not so sure about TikTok yet, but definitely Instagram. Unless you're going for moms who are entering back into the workforce, I'm not so sure I would focus so heavily on Facebook. And then the other thing would be building your email base, right? Your contact list, and beginning to determine how can you be a valuable resource for this target audience and not inundate them with unnecessary, irrelevant information. And maybe you only begin to, drop something once a month and then see how that's perceived and received and then move on from there. But I would certainly focus on LinkedIn as number one.
Do you also currently utilize an email newsletter, an email list?
I personally don't. I'm not a lover of newsletters. So I just felt it was hypocritical if I created one when I don't love them. But I know a lot of people do love them. The other thought that I have is joining networking groups. Yeah.
And is there any networking group that you would share or that you have joined that would be helpful either for like executive coaches watching this?
Absolutely. I have found WESOS, WESOS, Women Entrepreneurs Secret of Success, to be an invaluable networking resource. There's chapters all across the country. You can find it online very easily. It is not too expensive to join from an annual basis. And the women in this organization truly support other women. They are not taking their stilettos off and using them to climb up the backs of other women to get to a higher position. They truly are there to support the women in the room and to support one another.
I noticed that, at least on your LinkedIn profile, you're also active there. Do you find that either by posting content often on LinkedIn that you get some good engagement and therefore kind of get some clients that way as well? Would you like to share some more
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. I forgot about that one. Absolutely. So I actually have two efforts going on LinkedIn right now, and I've had them for about a year. One is the lead generation, and then the other is the posting. And I find that the posting is great because, as we all know, we need to get people to know us, like us, and trust us. And with regular posting, you're beginning to get people to know you and hopefully like you. And if there's any way that you can make your posts stand out, either with unexpected graphics, with an unexpected headline or subject line, you're going to begin to stand out. So again, think about what you have to offer. Is there a way that you can position what you do or what somebody may be experiencing and therefore want to work with you in a manner that hasn't been done yet?
And what about the cold outreach or like the lead generation side? How does that work for you?
That's been tougher. And I think, again, because most of the people we are targeting are women. And as I've mentioned, women take very good care of themselves, typically women executives. And a lot of women executives already have coaches. coaches. So you want to begin to think about, okay, so do I want to go to the next level down? Do I want to try to go to the next level up? And I have found that women are wonderful in terms of wanting to talk with you, wanting to open up their network to you. Every so often there's an odd duck, but that's to be expected. But yes, women on LinkedIn have been incredibly generous, and I've been well received with my lead generation campaign.
Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for sharing the content strategy as well. Those are very valuable tips for everyone who's going to watch this. I wanted to switch more a little bit about and talk a little bit about your growth journey and like your future goals. Do you have any goals that you're working towards for the next 1 to 3 years?
Yes, to eventually retire. So I think my position may not be as typical as some other positions. I came into this wanting to just be a one-on-one coach. I don't have any programs that are evergreen. I don't have any workshops. I had them and I don't do them anymore. I really enjoy the one-on-one. And I believe, given the way that our world is changing, um, there's going to continue to be a need for one-on-one coaching. Yes, lots of people love to go to master classes. They love to do group workshops. They love to do classroom work, but it's not the same level of coaching as you get in a situation like this. And depending on what your goals are as a coach, the best way to get to your $1 million profit a year is not through one-on-one coaching, unless you have something that is so unique that you can really offer at a high level, and that there is enough of a market that if it's not saturated yet, by the time you're fully engaged in that market, it still won't be, and you will have the opportunity to make that profit of $1 million a year. That was never my goal. My goal was really to know that I am making a difference. I'm helping people to live a better life and to be, I like to say, the best version of their highest potential.
Thanks for sharing that. And since you said you're mostly focused on one-on-one, um, what came to mind is like, how does pricing work for your case? So do you charge them hourly and off script here, and the editor can cut this. You don't have to share it, but if you want to share your rate, you can share that as well. So I'm just going to ask you mostly if you charge by program, like with a minimal number of sessions, or if you charge a la carte, like per session, per hour, basically. Um, so that is kind of the question, and up to you. You can share your rate or not. It's totally optional. So I'm going to go back live, and so basically wanted to ask you, do you find that is better? Like how does your pricing work basically? Is it by hour or by program?
It's both, actually. So I have 3 programs. I have a 4-month, 6-month, and 12-month program. And you get different elements in each program. If you buy a program and you pay up front, you get a discount off of that price. If you buy a program and you don't pay up front, and I'm your bank, then you don't get as much of a discount. So if you buy up front, pay up front, you get the deepest discount. If you buy up front, pay partial up front, you get less of a discount. If you buy the program but pay in 2 or 3 installments, you get very little discount. And then you have the a la carte option, which is just, you don't get the other elements that are offered in the package. You just get the straight coaching. And that's a simple fee per hour. And you need to pay the session fee 2 days in advance. I send you an invoice, so that you have more than enough time to pay it 2 days in advance. And if you miss a session, depending on what happened, we may use that fee for your next session, or it may just be the cancellation fee.
Do you
And
find
you may want to take that out based on how you edit.
do you find that one of these options works better than the other?
For my clientele, they choose the a la carte. And I have somebody who's been with me for 2 years. So she would have saved a lot of money if she chose the 12-month program. But we don't see each other now nearly as frequently as we did when we first started. She's actually one of my success stories. She's not a typical client, but she's one of my success stories. So I would not recommend somebody being in a strong coaching relationship for 2 years unless there was an absolute need for that. I think you could do a heavy up, like 12-month program, and then maybe do monthly or quarterly check-ins, depending again on what your objectives are.
Thanks for sharing that. I want to switch a little bit more on either like resources that you found helpful for you while growing your coaching business, or ways that you kind of stay connected with other executive coaches, maybe to learn more from them on how they run their executive coaching business. Do you have any resources you'd like to share?
I actually talk to a lot of coaches through the 2 or 3 different networking organizations I've been a part of and continue to be a part of. We have a wonderful open discussion when we need to and want to. I think there's so much that's available online right now, and our ability to research has just magnified in the past 2 years. There are also incredible professional organizations that you can connect with, and if you want to do their 20-month program, there's wonderful opportunities there as well, but they also have wonderful resources on their website.
That's very helpful. We'll also link what you had just shared in the beginning as well. We'll link that to the description. The other question is more either unexpected lessons learned while you running your own coaching business, or something that what is something that you wish you had known when you first started scaling your coaching business?
Good question. When I started my coaching business, I actually took a program from another coach that coached coaches on how to set up their business. And I found that incredibly helpful. So I think as you begin to scale, connecting with other coaches or using an organization like Purple Circle is really valuable. I think some of the lessons that it saves you, for example, from what do you do about cancellation policy? What do you do about a client doesn't do their homework? What do you do about a client that it's time for the second installment and they haven't paid you? So it helps you with some of those things. It never dawned on me that somebody might not pay me, but show up for a session. And so until I started hearing these, real life stories and experiences, I was like, all right, not everybody's good, as kind and fair as I want them to be. And they've made this big leap, this big step into wanting to, I call it, take care of themselves, be committed to themselves. And then they get scared. And there isn't anything you can really do about that unless they allow you to walk them through that trigger that you've tapped. So when someone all of a sudden drops you as a coach, don't take that personally. That's everything to do with them. Everything to do with them. So don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your words. These are all, the 4 agreements. It's a great book. It's actually something that I recommend to my clients. And I think all potential and current coaches could read it too and use it as a guide, a code.
Thanks for sharing that. Real good lessons learned there. I'm going to switch more into a challenge focused question. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in scaling your coaching business?
Yeah, also great question. So knowing when it's time to bring help into your business, right? Because you're a solopreneur and you've either been doing it all and doing it well, or been doing it all and doing it the best you can. And now you need to relinquish control. So get over yourself, right? It's all about your clients. It's not about you. And people are going to like you. People aren't going to like you. And that's okay. So hire the best that you can afford to do your social media for you, to do your lead gen for you. Have weekly meetings with them. Talk about, do we need to tweak the message? Do we need to tweak the target audience? How we're communicating with our lead gen, is that supported by your social media? and vice versa. The messaging needs to be the same. You are a brand. How you represent yourself needs to be consistent. So again, that people can know, like, and trust you. And don't be afraid to tell your social media people, your lead gen people, that either you don't like their ideas are not working, their ideas are not in alignment with your brand. Again, you are your brand ambassador as well as your brand. So you need to protect that, and you need to make sure that everyone who's working as your representative completely understands you and what you bring to the table.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And now I'm going to move on to like a closing question, which I always ask to everyone in this podcast. What advice would you give to other executive coaches, or in our case, it's going to be mostly career coaches watching this, but coaches that are in this industry looking to scale their impact?
Be really clear on what you bring to the table, how you are different from other coaches, because unfortunately, coaching is becoming a commodity if it isn't one already. And don't take your eye off the ball. And you've got two balls. One is your clients, and then the other is your business. So don't sacrifice your clients for scaling, and don't sacrifice scaling for your clients. And then last, safeguard you. Don't lose you because you're growing your business or you're overly dedicated to your clients.
Amazing advice there. Thanks. Thank you so much, Corinne, for joining us today. For everyone who wants to find you, they can find you on CorinneWyard.com, on your LinkedIn as well, Corinne Wyard. Is there any other way that people can find you if they wanted to reach out to you directly?
Or they can email me at Corinne@CorinneWyard.com.
Thank you so much, Corinne.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.